right, so a weekend of NBA games is in the books, and what did we really learn? I mean, we learned that hey, I was like, if these aren't or weren't the most game one games, like to me, home team basically all like one, which sort of says like the whole that whole thing where it's like you get to sleep in your own bed and have your own routine and all that. So that sort of proved to be true. Except for like two of them, they were all pretty much blowouts, and which is surprising considering the only one I felt like everybody could say that they didn't think maybe probably will be a blowout will be Boston and the Miami just because there was no Butler. And I know that Miami sort of made a run, I was like, and with some of the blowouts, a lot of them did like you seen like in the second half, like they played better and they got their rhythm back in a way where it's like they made a run where it was like yeah it was going to be really difficult except for like maybe like the Clipper game they got that close at a point and then they just sort of ran the gas, but for the most part they got in the rhythm in a way that makes the second game a lot more like what's going to happen because I was like, you get a blowout. I was like, it's one of them things where after you try hard, but you don't want to like spend too much crazy energy. But also in the day in the NBA with 3 points, it's either gonna be a blowout or you're gonna be able to catch up. Which is a thing I think we also see that is basically like, oh, like I hope this isn't the trend also for playoff games. Because normally with playoffs, you normally get at least a tight competitive game, and I was like, I hope that we do get that, and it's not going to be just how it was just like in the season where we're just this offense juggernaut where we're just like, oh, okay, cool. By the third quarter, pretty much like what some way to wrap. Like, yes, you could get back into it, but also you have to make sure you really stop that team. You can't like be like go on like an 8 point run and then they just score two threes. Then that just defeats everything. Um, what I'll say, I was like, I don't, I was like, I was like outside. I think I was like outside of Miami, I could see the net. I was like I could see the games flipping. Um, I was like I just don't think the Celtics really just got to beat themselves in order for Miami to get it. Some other things is just like I was like if Phoenix is not hitting, I don't know what else they could do if they don't have any of their offensive players hitting. There's really nothing they could really do against the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves just got too many pieces, and that all gel really well. Um, let's see. I was like, I was like, we'll just go ahead and go to the Lakers and Nuggets game, and once again, my whole point was that hey, the Nuggets. I was like that. I was like, I think I was like, I said in my prediction. I think that the Lakers can get two games just because I just believe that at least one game the Lakers is gonna go bananas. But I said the problem with the Lakers is that their squad versus the Nuggets squad is basically who can be consistent. And you've seen with the Nuggets, like all five or six of their players play consistent where they're supposed to be at. Whereas with the Lakers, it's like, yeah, you got LeBron and you got AD. And then after that, everybody else is up in the air. Rui's in the air. You don't know what kind of Russell you're going to get. Spencer Dinwiddie went over because that's kind of guy that he is. He's a real hot streak type of person. Um, I was like, Reeves, I was like, even though Reeves could get you buckets and he did, I was like, it is always just that ceiling. Like that ceiling. Like there's like the person that the funny thing is the one you got to count on really is Russell because he could just go off for 40. We just don't get that, like Reeves isn't the guy that I feel like you feel like oh my god he's hitting us for 40. He's like the one that just keeps you in the game. Um, Spencer Dinwiddie can also be like the guy that's like, but I was like, but you need him with other people. It can't just be like him going nuts. But yeah, that's what I always say with the Lakers is that their people aren't consistent to where you need to be with the Nuggets because AD is playing great and LeBron is playing great, and but you can also tell that if this was LeBron 8 years ago, this would actually be a matchup. But I was like, but that's where you can tell like it's just not that LeBron anymore. The Knicks and 76ers, I think the Knicks are really fortunate that you don't have a good. They're not playing against a good Embiid. And I think a good Embiid, not even Embiid, MVP Embiid, good Embiid, I think would probably be having them. Cause, and also too, I'll say if it's not apparent for the Sixers that they do need another person, I don't think it's no more than that. It's just that getting enamored with what Maxi is and all this other stuff. And not saying that he's not good. I was like he is, and he's a really good piece. But you could tell like something else is just needed. Like you could see without Randall that Brunson is still that dude. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, of course, you lose your MVP, you only could be so good. But at the same time, it's like when you see it's just Maxi and Tobias Harris is doing what he normally does in a playoff, where it was just kind of like, and you're having to rely on Nicholas Batum, you're kind of in a situation where you're in a problem. I was like, you're getting good Kyle Lowry. I was like, I know it's one game, but you're getting good Kyle Lowry. He does sort of show up for the playoffs a lot more than anything, and you just see it. But by God, that I was like, he hurt himself, but that dunk that Embiid did, it showed you that. I'm like, yeah, that's not even good Embiid, and that dude doing that. Uh, I was like the Magic. This is sort of where I thought they would have trouble. I don't think Paulo played good. I was like he played all right. But my whole thing was going to be basically the guards. That's where I thought it was going to be at. Cause I thought that even though Allen and Mobley was giving them problems because it's like they have size but they don't have size. Like they like Paulo's like they all got tall people, but like Franz and Paulo is 6'10", but they're not the same way as Mobley and Allen is, where they're like long with it. And Isaac isn't like strong enough to be in there with them. And Carter sort of seems. I was like, it's in just some of the game that's just like, okay, maybe he might be able to be used, but also he's also like 6'10" to they're like 7 feet. But the guard play, I was like Garland and Mitchell. They didn't get nothing from. And now, don't get me wrong, you could tell like a lot of them would miss shots. Like Cole Anthony had a lot of missed shots that he was open. Harris, and Suggs played a little bit better at the end. I thought Paulo did too. Started to figure out like, okay, like he started to figure out where he gets his shots at and stuff like that against him, and with was like mid range or like a quick like jab and stuff like that, because it's like he can't fully go into the paint with them dudes. So it's like, all right, cool, but they can't come out here really on me either. Yeah, so I think that'll be a lot better, and plus Cleveland's always good to have a stinker where Mitchell just goes 0 for like 20 or whatever. I know not literally, but he sort of does that as well too. So I think Orlando can get in this. I was like the Pacers and the Bucks game. I don't think it's gonna look like how it did today. I think Dame just went the hell off in such a way that they really couldn't. That it got out of hand. It's like once they was that up. But the problem is that if the Bucks play defense like they do, and they can get better shots than Indiana, because the thing is the way that Indiana plays, you're gonna get about the same amount of shots that they do. So if they miss and you hit and they don't play defense but you do, it tends to go in your favor while they can sustain like Giannis not being here. I was like the Thunder. I was like I think that this is going to be an interesting series just because they have. I think unless until Zion comes back, which doesn't sound like it is unless they like really draw this game out. Oklahoma City has more athleticism than New Orleans. New Orleans got the big guys though, but that's where they sort of negated with their athletics. So because like Chet was still like he's getting bodied, but it's like you also can't go to the rim because he's there way into. Uh, I think it's just going to be difficult because you're not. You also don't have Ingram playing at the level you need him to play. Like you can still see that it's not fully there. Dort was all up in him, and he couldn't really, So it's like you really going to. And the problem is that New Orleans would normally have the depth in order to really dish it out with other people, except for you playing the real like a team that has also the depth to also do this at the same time. So it's like they're real. That's why it was sort of the thing. I'm like the philosophy of the team is really mirror images sort of each other. Where it's like you got your star people, and then you got like a good amount of role players beside them, and they're all cheap and stuff like that. Like that's what I meant. But I do think if Zion was able to play, I think that'd be a different because he's athletic, big, and strong, so he could just body all them dudes, and then nobody could check him at all. So I think this right now is going to be a pretty even matchup. The Mavs and the Clippers. I think it was almost the same thing like the Bucks, where it's just like they just got up on them, and those dudes, they were really just missing shots. Cause they were like lobs, they were missing dunks, and it wasn't until like Luka was also not playing well in the first half, but Kyrie was basically just like it was like, all right, cool. If I gotta do what I gotta do until everybody else catch up. Then Luka started getting involved, and then you started seeing a little bit of what it could be if they get it right. Which so that's and I was like, so that's why I'm not too overly concerned. Also, too, like Jesus Christ, they could not miss a shot. Like man was hitting three, Kofi. I was like Russell even hit a couple. Like if their role players are able to hit shots, and Zubac was over here doing his thing in the paint against two big dudes, because that's basically what it felt like. The Clipper will come out of this just because I'm like they got dudes that can score with those two dudes. So whose role players is going to step up is what's going to be key in this game. Uh, man, I was like trying to think of any other ones. Uh, I'll going back to the Celtics. I was like, I think the Heat might get one because I just feel like the Celtics. They just, I was like Celtics one of them teams like until we see it, and I was like, they always show you that they'll drop one and play down to their competition, in some form or matter in a way that's like, oh, okay, they could get a game, from them. Uh, but yeah, no, I think that's pretty much all the games wrapping up here. It's going to be cool to see what happens in the next couple games. Just because, for the most part, you kind of want to steal the same one at home. I know that's something that everybody always says, but it just takes the pressure off if you're able to get the second one instead of trying to be like, okay, I gotta win one of these two at my house, and then go on a stretch. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, but I was like, yeah, no. I think that's every game I hit. I was like, yeah, I thought good on top of the head. Anyway, that's just the recap of this weekend game. We're gonna see how each game two goes and keep it up from there. Hopefully, I'm always down for a long playoff series. I don't really have no team invested in this. I just want to keep watching games as long as I can. Darn, because there's nothing else going on. Anyway, until then, peace. I'm out.